Okay, y'all, let's get into it. Now, I did my interpretation of the answers to the first debate question. And I'm being told that I interpret JD Vance wrong. And I need to educate myself. So I'm going to put up what I said and the original or what they said. And you tell me what I got wrong.
And his national security advisors said he should be nowhere near the White House. Now, the person closest to them, Donald Trump, said he's unfit for the highest office. That was Senator Vance.
And would you support or oppose a preemptive strike by Israel on Iran? You have 2 minutes.
So, Margaret, I want to answer the question. First of all, thanks, Governor. Thanks to CBS for hosting the debate. And thanks, most importantly, to the American people who are watching this evening and caring enough about this country to pay attention to this vice presidential debate. I want to answer the question, but I want to actually give an introduction to myself a little bit because I recognize a lot of Americans don't know who either one of us are. I was raised in a working class family. My mother required food assistance for periods of her life. My grandmother required Social Security help to raise me, and she raised me in part because my own mother struggled with addiction for a big chunk of my early life. I went to college on the GI Bill after I enlisted in the Marine Corps and served in Iraq. And so I stand here asking to be your vice president with extraordinary gratitude for this country, for the American dream that made it possible for me to live my dreams.
They asked him the same question. Vince like, I'm about to answer the question, but I need to go into what I rehearsed and put a little distance in between him bringing up what I said about Trump. So let's talk about my family. So then he go and talk about his family, and he like, I'm just like y'all, who parents was on that stuff, and my grandma had to raise me and had food stamps and shit. I'm so relatable. I served in the Iraq War, so I lived the dream where I'm starting from the bottom. Now I'm here.
I know that a lot of you are worried about the chaos in the world and the feeling that the American dream is unattainable. I want to try to convince you tonight over the next 90 minutes that if we get better leadership in the White House, if we get Donald Trump back in the White House, the American dream is going to be attainable once again.
And I want to tell y'all, if you put Trump back in the White House, the American people can live that same dream, because he struggled and he had to endure. Wait, never mind. I want to convince y'all, if you get Trump back in the White House, y'all can live the American dream of starting from the bottom. Now we're here, like Trump never had to do. Now on to the question.
Now, to answer this particular question, we have to remember that as much as Governor Walz just accused Donald Trump of being an agent of chaos, Donald Trump actually delivered stability in the world, and he did it by establishing effective deterrence. People were afraid of stepping out of line.
Talk about Trump again. And when he was president, how he had the country shaking in their boots, and they wouldn't dare step out of line with Daddy Trump in office.
Iran, which launched this attack, has received over $100 billion in unfrozen assets thanks to the Kamala Harris administration. What do they use that money for? They use it to buy weapons that they're now launching against our allies, and God forbid, potentially launching against the United States as well.
Kamala gave Iran money, and they're using that to buy weapons to use against Israel and maybe one day the U.S. So Trump made them too scared to do that. Now, what was the question again? I got caught up in talking about Trump. Oh, yeah, the preemptive strike.
Donald Trump recognized that for people to fear the United States, you needed peace through strength. They needed to recognize that if they got out of line, the United States global leadership would put stability and peace back in the world. Now, you asked about a preemptive strike, Margaret, and I want to answer the question. Look, it is up to Israel what they think they need to do to keep their country safe, and we should support our allies wherever they are when they're fighting the bad guys. I think that's the right approach to take with the Israel question.
And what I support. I believe I had to talk in circles long enough so people won't realize that, yes, I agree with Waltz. And it's saying what he said, which is we support Israel.
Senator Vance, the U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to temporarily pause parts of its nuclear program, and President Trump did exit that deal. He recently said, just 5 days ago, the U.S. must now make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible. Did he make a mistake? You have 1 minute.
Well, first, moderator come in like, JD, no cap. The U.S. did have a diplomatic deal with Iran to pause making nukes, and your boy did exit that deal. And now about a week ago, he's saying the U.S. must make a diplomatic deal with Iran because the consequences are impossible.
First of all, Margaret, diplomacy is not a dirty word, but I think that's something that Governor Walz just said is quite
JD, like, first off, I'm going to talk about something nobody said and say diplomacy is not a bad word.
Extraordinary. You yourself just said Iran is as close to a nuclear weapon today as they have ever been. And Governor Walz, you blame Donald Trump. Who has been the vice president for the last 3.5 years? And the answer is your running mate, not mine.
Moderators, you just said Iran is closer than they ever been to nukes. And whilst you trying to blame Trump, I'm going to ignore what y'all both said. When Trump was actually the president, he pulled the deal that stopped Iran from making nukes. And what I want to say is about Kamala, who is not the president, is not the one who put the deal, but let's focus on her anyway, because I ain't got nowhere else out this damn question.
Donald Trump consistently made the world more secure. Now, we talk about what the sequence of events that led us to where we are right now, and you can't ignore October the 7th, which I appreciate Governor Walz bringing up. But when did Iran and Hamas and their proxies attack Israel? It was during the administration of Kamala Harris. So Governor Walz can criticize Donald Trump's tweets, but effective, smart diplomacy and peace through strength is how you bring stability back to a very broken world. Donald Trump has already done it once before. Ask yourself at home, when was the last time, I'm 40 years old, when was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
Let's go to October the 7th, when Iran attacked Israel and Kamala was in charge. So Trump can tweet all he wants because he wasn't in charge when the consequences of his decisions hit the fan.
Gentlemen, we have a lot to get to. Nora?
Margaret, thank you.
The moderator's like, he's not going to answer the question. So let's just move on to the next one. Laura, what you got? And that's how the end of the first question.